Okay, so this is the story of the Silver State 508. Let's begin with last year. Last year I raced the Silver State 508. I was in 4th or 5th place. I had ridden for 33 hours and I quit with 50 miles to go. So obviously I didn't want to do that again. I had a DNF. My race prep from last year to this year consisted of a lot of high intensity interval training. Last year my FTP was about 320, 330 during the race. This year I was able to raise it up. It's about 385 watts on the climb bike, 370 watts on the time trial bike. A lot of that, believe it or not, was doing spin classes. As you guys know, my wife and I bought a spin studio, so a lot of my training is done in 45-minute sessions at the spin class. Also did a lot of night riding, a lot of 12-hour rides, a lot of endurance rides in there. So first off, I want to talk about the reason we did the Silver State 508. Number one, I love to ride bikes, I love ultra endurance, but also to raise money. We raised $3,776.28 for Action Against Hunger. If that's something you guys feel inclined to donate to, I'll just put a link in my in the video. One thing that's awesome about them is they give 93% of all the money donated actually goes to helping, to the charity, not overhead costs. Only 7% to overhead costs. So, quick shout out, Diamondback Land Surveying. They supplied me with $1,500 from the start to get going on the race, paid for all the jerseys and everything, assisted with entry fees. And then on top of that, they donated another $1,000 towards Team 45 Action Against Hunger. So thank you, Diamondback Land Surveying. Some quick shout outs, Sean Davison, Michelle Francis, they both donated $508. My mom and dad donated $508. My sister and brother-in-law donated $400. And so many other people donated. So thank you to everybody. Very grateful for that. Shout out to the support crew, my sister, my wife, my good friend Jeremiah, and my good friend Allie Brandt. They all were my support crew. We were a team in this. I was 1/5 of the team, 20% of the team. The four of them were the other 80%. Literally couldn't have got through this without them. So everybody that I rode with at the Yosemite Cycling Camp, super supportive. Thank you to all of you guys. Everyone that I ride with, Bill Cassidy, the guy that really got me into endurance riding. Thank you to Bill. And then a special thank you to Mark Gibson. Mark Gibson's the dude that won the 508 last year. He gave me so much advice. One thing he told me that I didn't get out of my head the whole race was, if you get off the bike, you'll lose. If you stay on the bike, you'll win the race. So amazing time by Mark. Last year he won it. He did it in 30 hours, 15 minutes. This year he broke the 30 hour, did it in about a 29:45-ish. And then obviously I won and I had a 28 hour, 18-minute time. But thank you to Mark. He's done so much for me. So now that we got all that out of the way, let's talk about the race. So first off, 28-hour race. The race goes from Reno to Eureka and back. My time, overall time, I'm just talking about a lapse time, not ride time. To give you an idea, you guys, I rode from Reno to Eureka with about 24 minutes of breaks. It was 12.5 hours out there, so about 12 hours ride time, 12.5 total time. On the way back, it took me till 28 hours of lapse time, and I added another 2 hours of breaks. So it gets exponentially harder. To give you guys an idea, the first 25% of the race is probably equal to 5% effort mentally, just because it's so much harder. It gets exponentially harder as the race goes on. So when you're halfway through mileage and time wise, you're probably really 20% through the race. Just mentally, it is extremely difficult. So little recap, some highlights of the race. The way out, I chased Mark and another guy up the first climb. Obviously I'm heavier, so I'm not as strong as a climber as those guys. The first climb I hung within about 500 meters of them. The descent, passed them both, and then never saw them again. However, I didn't know that's how it was gonna be. Jumped on the time trial bike through Silver Springs, smashed it all the way to Austin, and then my goal at that point was to beat Mark to the halfway point. That's all I could think about, is I want to beat Mark to the halfway point. So we got to Eureka, and that's where the race really started getting interesting. Got to Eureka, and that's where you turn around, so you can basically see where everybody's at in relation to you live. Because you got to remember, when you're in first place, you're coming into time stations, but there's no time there. So everyone behind me, for example, Mark would come into a time station and he could see, okay, Canis Latrans, that was my team name, Shane, was here, at 12 hours, 32 minutes. It's now 13 hour, 1 minute. He was 29 minutes behind me, or in front of me, better yet. So it's easy to see that. For me, all I had was a live tracker, which was updated, and you can't tell the updates. It's giving you mileage. The problem with that is, were we in a hill section, were we in a flat section? On the flats with a tailwind, we might be doing 33 miles an hour. On the flats with a headwind, we might be doing 20 miles an hour. On a climb that's super steep grade with a headwind, we might be doing 6 miles an hour. So that was really pushed me to my limits. My main plan was don't sleep. Last year, one of the things that killed me was I fell asleep and I could not recover from it. It was just so hard to get up and get moving again. One tip that Mark gave me is anything over 20 minutes, you'll start locking up. And it's just so hard to get back up and going again. All right, so the first half of the race is just, 12 hours endurance ride, no big deal. So we shoot into Eureka, we get there before the sun goes down, we're stoked. We start riding back. Eureka was at mile 256. We start riding back. I'm looking, where's Mark? I want to see how many miles ahead of him I am. So 256, I see Mark at about mile 264 point something. So I'm 18 miles ahead of him, I'm stoked. And I know that when he gets to Eureka, because he's got better endurance than I do, he's older, and believe it or not, as you get older, your endurance gets a little better. So I know that I'm gonna start to fade and he's gonna start to come into a sweet spot. So I hammer it out of Eureka. And my main goal, I'm just focused on getting to Carroll Summit. Carroll Summit on the way back is after Austin. It's always a very hard point to get to, but from there the race does get a little better. So I hammer it into Austin. I don't stop. We drop down into Austin. Now into Austin is a long flat and then a big climb, 2 climbs, and then you drop down into Austin. And then once you drop down into Austin, typically you come through there at night. It was night for us. I believe it was about 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And it starts to get cold. And in that valley 2 years ago on the Silver State 508, it was 13 degrees out in that valley. We got really nice weather as far as temperatures went. We didn't have that good of tailwinds this year. But so we drop into the valley, and it's cold. It's like in the 45s, which is cold, but not too bad. Gear up. And my main focus was just get through this valley, because that valley is, for me, is the hardest part of the race. I hate the road surface. There's bumps, and when you're on the TT bike, it's like boom, boom, boom. It's cold. You're starting to get tired. Through the night is the hardest part of the endurance riding for me, because your body starts to kick in its natural melatonin, goes into the circadian rhythm, and it's telling you, hey, it's time to shut down. It's hard to get through that. So we are shooting through the valley. The first 4-man team comes up on us. We get a 2-hour head start ahead of any teams, all the solos do. So quick side note, actually with my time I beat everybody except for 2 of the 4-man teams. So I beat all the 4-man teams, all the 2-man teams, and all the solos, which was pretty amazing. And I'm saying but really you guys, as this story unfolds, you'll see that it was my team that did this win. Okay, so we get into Austin, the 4-man team's coming on us, and I had to, just do a mental game where I went, okay, I'm not gonna let this 4-man team catch me. So I hammered it and got to Carroll, the climb to go up Carroll Summit, switched bikes to the climb bike, went up Carroll Summit, and then on the descent, I remembered coming the other way, there was some loose gravel and such, so we just really wanted to take that descent slow. We did. It was cold. The 4-man team finally caught us on the descent. Super cool dudes. Coconut Crab is the name of their team, I think. I hope I didn't get that wrong. But they stopped. They're like, hey, you guys all right? You know, because we've been chasing you all night. We finally caught you. And we're like, yeah, no, we're good. We're just taking a pee break. I stopped about halfway down the descent to go pee. So then they take off. We get through. And then, like, now it's hit me because all I was focused on is get to that Carroll Summit, get down, and now I'm like getting extremely fatigued. It's like 1 a.m. So we come out of there, we shoot through, and I'm just getting tired, and they're checking the tracker. In some spots we can't even check the tracker because there's no cell service. Okay, so now let me say this. I gotta backtrack a little in the story. So coming out of Eureka was amazing, just to see all these people coming in. And then I had my support crew there, and my sister, we had the bullhorn, and this like gave me so much strength. But coming through there, she's just like, so someone would come by and she'd yell at me, "You are currently in first place." And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, you know, I'm in first place. And then people would come by, and like I'm like 35 miles out of Eureka, so these people are like 70 miles behind me, and it was just like amazing. And she'd be like, these people would come by, and she'd with the bullhorn, "These people are completely blown away by you." And then the next person would come by, and it was just so cool. For me, that's on these ultra endurance rides, that's what keeps me going, is like for them to come in and tell them like, dude, good job, you guys are doing awesome. That inspires me. And that's one reason why I love the 24-hour World Time Trial Championships, because you're doing laps over and over. So you're passing people and you're seeing people on these laps, and to go by them and tell them, good job, you're doing awesome. I don't know why, but that really helps me do better. So back to the story, got sidetracked. So we get in this valley, and I'm just like super tired, slightly hallucinating. I don't know if this is true or not, but through that valley in Austin, there were 3 times where there was these little, I thought they were bats curled up in the road, and they would wait to move till you rode right by them, and they'd jump up out of that asphalt, and it would look like the asphalt was exploding. And so at this point, yeah, I've only been up like 18 hours, but you're so fatigued that it really mentally affects you. So the support crew claims they didn't ever see it. I'm certain it was real. However, I know there was some things that weren't real that happened. The sagebrush with the different lights on them looked like these white rhinos at some point, and I thought they were gonna jump out in front of the road in front of me. So that was kind of like, those were like the biggest hallucinations that I had. Overall, not that bad. But anyway, I'm getting super tired, super fatigued. So I pull over and I tell the crew like, hey, guys, I know like everything I told you 20 hours ago was we're not taking a nap, but I needed like an hour rest. And they were like, sorry, no. And so I really fought them on it. I even went to the point of saying like, hey, if you guys, you know, if I fall asleep on my bike and die, it's your guys' fault, just to try and manipulate them into letting me have that nap. So they settled on a 10-minute nap. I did the 10-minute nap, and it literally felt like this, awake, but it was 10 minutes, I guess. So we go on, we continue on, we get to Austin, and at Austin we get to Fallon, I'm sorry. Fallon is about, I want to say 70 miles from the finish, so I am just wrecked. I beg them, I just want a cheap McDonald's cheeseburger and an hour's sleep. And at that point I was about 20 miles ahead from the trackers of Mark. And little did I know that Mark also pulled off and took a 10 or 20 minute power nap. He told me after. And so the thing is had I known all of this, I might have tried to really push for that nap more. But luckily my crew didn't let me. They did keep me safe. you do get those little micro sleeps on the bike, and so what they did is with the bullhorn, they had the siren, and every time they saw me start like to slow on the pedaling, they hit the siren to wake me up, and that worked well. I feel like it was still safe. I don't know, people might comment, but you make a video and you always get the negative people that have something negative to say, so I'm sure that people are going to comment that I'm an idiot or stupid or something, but if you love this sport, you'll understand where I'm coming from, that it was the right way to go, and that's actually what got me the win, because if I would have fell asleep, it would have been done. So we get into Fallon, I beg for a nap, I actually used the bathroom at the gas station, I'm able to wipe down and whatnot, and they said I fell asleep for 3 minutes, but I don't think I did. Either way, get another 5-minute nap in Fallon, and we take off. And at that point, it's about 4 or 5 in the morning, and we start heading into Silver Springs. The sun starts coming up, and it's amazing. Something about endurance, when you're out there, as soon as that sun comes up, your body turns on. Your body goes, okay, circadian rhythm on, melatonin gone, you're awake, it's time to go now, and everything changes. And to me, going through that transition, that is how I know that endurance cycling is a mental game, because for me to go from one state of completely defeated, I can't barely pedal anymore, to, hey, we got this, let's go do it. After 430 miles or whatever, just by the sun rising, that's your brain. That's a mental state. So I call the support crew up to me, we're riding, and they roll the windows down, and I tell them, hey guys, no matter how this turns out, because I had no idea where Mark was in relation to all of this. So, hey guys, no matter how this turns out, I'm grateful for your help. And they said that they knew at that point that we had the win. So we shoot into Silver Springs. We get into Silver Springs. As we come in, the sun's rising, so I'm getting awake, but also the wind is picking up, and so that's making me more happy, because even though I'm getting a headwind, I know that the time that I'm making on the people behind me is becoming exponential, because as the sun comes up, that headwind comes up there. So we get into Silver Springs, we go by, and as you guys know, we own the spin studio. There's clients there that have one in particular, he's actually the father of Jeremiah, the guy that helped me, that's driven the support crew and been on the support team for the last 3 years. Kevin and his family and Jeremiah's family are all waiting on the side of the road as I go by after Silver Springs before you hit the big climb on 6 Mile, cheer me on. Super emotional moment. And I was so fatigued at that point, well, I couldn't control my emotions. I just start crying, and I'm to the point of crying where you're and you can't breathe. And so what was interesting is that hyperventilating from crying totally recharged my body, and I was like, this is great. And so I come and I turn off 6 Mile. I grab the climb bike, which, by the way, side note, I used the Giant for most of the climbs, and it was because the Trek, I snapped a spoke on it a week before, and I couldn't get the rear wheel fixed in time, so I was gonna have to use the deep dish wheel on the Trek. So it was almost the same weight as the Giant, and I figured the Giant probably had better power transfer because it's stiffer frame. So I used the Giant for most of those climbs, and it did well. One thing I did do is I swapped the Giant to a 5034 crank, and I put the 5236 on the Trek Speed Concept. Weird, the Giant Propel comes with a 5236, Trek Speed Concepts comes with a 5034, but just swapped them. So anyway, also got to do a review on that Trek Speed Concept. That bike is amazing. I haven't done a review on it yet. Got I think a couple thousand miles on it now. So sorry, sidetrack. Anyway, we hit 6 Mile. 6 Mile Canyon, you're climbing at about miles 485 to 491. And the first part of it isn't bad. The last part, you have 13% grades. So imagine riding 490 miles, and then imagine riding a 13% grade after that. I was determined not to walk my bike up it. A lot of people do. I didn't. I probably would have been faster had I. Pushed through, Got to the top, my friend Bill was there. Bill is the guy that I raced the 2-man team with 2 years ago. He ran support last year. Amazing guy. He really, like, when I met Bill, I thought that a 100-mile ride was long, and Bill showed me all this endurance stuff and just like kind of pushed me to the next level of doing things like the 508 in the 24 hours. So I get up 6 Mile, and then from there, you know, a little climb up Geiger, you descend into Reno, done deal. Dude won the race. And so super grateful to win the race. I know there's so much I'm forgetting, and I'm gonna try and put some videos after this of the race. So many good videos that my sister did. She was the Facebook person. They're all Facebook Live. I don't know how to download them. I don't think there's a way to maybe do a screen capture. But I figured, let's try this. Let's try telling the story of the 508 and seeing if you guys like it. If you guys like it, we'll keep doing videos like this. So we won. Won by, you know, an hour or so, which was cool, and still feels surreal. What I did is immediately the next day signed up for Race Across the West Raw 2020. So my next event, 24-hour Worlds, my goal is to get 500 miles. It's a hard goal. I think only like 7 other people have ever gotten 500 miles there at that course in the 24 hours. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to do my best that I can. I'm going to really work on getting through the night, not sleeping. I'm going to really work on not as many breaks. I'd like to narrow it down to hour and a half or less breaks over the 24 hours. Nikki, my wife, is going to be support crew for that, which is cool. My friend Thomas is going to be there, which is going to be cool. I met him there last year. We became good friends. Awesome dude. Him and I, we've really helped each other a lot. I think we discuss a lot of stuff, and we're straight up with each other about our opinions on things, which is cool. It's awesome to have a person to bounce stuff off. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked now. Stoked about the race. Gonna put some videos after this. Some are funny, some are of the crew making fun of me because apparently I was pouting during some of the race inside videos. Hope you guys enjoy. Thank you for watching, and if anybody wants to race the Silver State 508 next year, I'll see you out there. And if you have any questions, always feel free to message me and follow me on Strava, follow me on Instagram, add me on Facebook, and yeah, come out and ride. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.